Let's talk to Matt White. Wonder if he knows Jack. Hey, Matt.
Yes.
Hey, do you know Jack?
I know Jack. I've never met Jack from Rooster Teeth. I'd like to.
Oh.
Sorry.
Do you know Ron?
Do not know any Rons.
Okay. Do you know Meg?
I know Meg Turney from SourceFed.
Oh, you do? Do you know her personally?
No, I'd like to.
I feel so bad. She follows our Twitter and is constantly like, we're constantly talking back and forth on there because she cosplayed as like Joe and Mac. That's like one of my favorite games when I was a kid, and so I talked to her a bunch on there, and she was like, she had like a bunch of Joe and Mac shit. So I was like, oh, cool. And I told her, I was like, hey, come by our PAX booth. And then she came, but I had like explosive diarrhea, and I left.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I got like food poisoning from some kind of like pizza or something. Anyway, so I ran out of there, and she showed up at the booth just like, hey, what's up? And the other guys didn't know who she was.
Oh, nice.
So I seriously wrote on Twitter, come to our booth, like, we'll give, she's on that show, whatever, and so I was like, hey, yeah, come get some free crap or something, whatever. I wanted to meet her, and then I totally was like, I was like blasting the like Marriott restroom or whatever. It was a horrible, terrible thing. It was like I was like on the floor crying, and then I got back, and they were like, hey, someone came by and said they talked to her on Twitter. I don't know who the hell she was, but she left a card. I don't know who the hell this was, and it was like, oh, that was her. So I could have met her and never did.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I was too busy evacuating my bowels. Just
destroying the bathroom.
Oh my God! I mean, it was right after we went to Mod Pizza, and you could get whatever you want on the pizza. So we're talking mushrooms, onions,
a hefty load.
We're talking corn, goat cheese, pesto. I mean, you could see it all. It was a nightmare. So anyway, yeah, that's what I was doing. I missed out.
I mean, if you explained that to her, I'm sure she'd understand.
Yeah, well, I don't need to give her the full picture. You know what I mean? But
No.
I hope meet her someday. She was cool. She was cool, and she like plugged her stuff and stuff. So that was
That's cool.
Anyway.
I had a question, but
yes.
it is version 3, very spoiler heavy, and okay. I don't know if I should ask it or not.
If anyone out there has not seen, if you haven't seen version 3, plug your ears for 10 minutes.
All right, so we're all good?
Yeah.
All right. So I just wanted to know what the writing process was behind killing Pac off at the end of version 3. Was it something you guys had planned all along, or something that you just felt right, like, as you were writing version 3, you decided to come up with, or like, what was the whole plan behind that?
I think that was something that is something that's come up a couple times, or when we were working on stuff. Like, wouldn't it be crazy if a character, And then it was only when we got to the very last episode that we were like, man, it has taken so long for this shit to come out. We have to do something big and make it worth it, because Lord knows when a fourth one will come out.
Right.
Like, who the hell knows when that's even going to come out? And even still, I don't know when the hell it's coming out. So what are we going to do? And it's like, well, you know what? Give them something to at least go out on. So they have a just total rad trilogy, hopefully, and it's good, whatever. So anyway, so we were just like, yeah, then let's do it. And whatever happens later, we'll worry about that later. But for right now, let's give them a good trilogy. And I think it works because Rocco and Derek are like the kind of like, they say it says in the opening of the show, this is their story.
Right.
But it's kind of like they are the ones kind of noting it all down. They're the observers. And I feel like version 1, 2, and 3, it kind of tells Pac's story too. It kind of, a guy who struggled to find his own identity and kind of found, what am I trying to say? there's a little bit of reality in it. I think it's someone who, without trying to make it sound too important, it's someone who was really struggling to find their own identity and then feeling safe in the fact that people bigger than them were telling them how good they were. But in the end, that can only go so far. You really have to make your own moves. You can't just always, they're telling me I should do this. They're telling me, And I think that's how version 3 ends, is like, even at the cost of his own life, he takes a stand and makes his own thing. And then he even says, like, I'm okay with this because I did it by my own terms, and it was... He enjoyed the ride. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass.
No. That's definitely something I've always been interested in. I've always, I'm in film school right now, and I've always been interested in the writing process, and just to see, especially like version 3, where it's kind of expanded all the versions just all together. It's such an expanded story that to do something like that, I thought was just such like a just a big step, and I really don't think a lot of people saw that coming.
Yeah,
I mean, I especially didn't.
Well, I'm glad you dug it.
Mm-hmm. And then was it always Pac? Did you ever think if you were gonna do it to kill anyone else off, or just anything that
it
major?
made the most sense. It made the most sense for him because, like I said, it was his like kind of arc. Mm-hmm. It made the most sense for him. I never thought about Rocco, Derek, or Horatio or any of them. Sean was a maybe because I do feel like Sean's story kind of wrapped up in version 3. So I'll be curious to see where that goes. Mm-hmm. But so I was kind of honestly debating. I think at one point even maybe he died before. I think there was a point where he was going to, and then it became, you know what? For 2 main characters to die, like that's such a like drop. That's such a hard thing for a show this light. The show's goofy, whatever. And I like when it has dark moments, but that is a little bit far. So then I started thinking, well, you know what? Have him get killed because to me, I wanted that threat of, man, Falls is fucking serious. They are killing whoever, anybody, doesn't matter. You could die. And do that to Sean, but maybe there's got to be a way to bring him back or something. And then it was like, well, hey, who's your god character? You have Sombrero do that, Anyway.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think at one point maybe Sean, and I still think maybe, I don't know, what's in the cards for Sean? His story is kind of wrapped up. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's next on the chopping block. I don't know. But
well, I guess I'll have to wait till version 4.
It made the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be stoked or like bummed if Pac came back? If like, oh shit, they brought him back. Would you be like, hell yeah? Or would you be like, no, keep him dead?
I'd honestly, I would be fine either way, really. I think that you guys did wrap him up perfectly, and the way you described it was, it made perfect sense. But at the same time, other than Rocco, Derek, and Sean, he's like the next big character. Nothing to like put away from like Horatio or Marcus or anything like that. But he was still. Even though Horatio's taking over, he still was the creator of the Mega64, and just to who knows what he could have done with it down the line.
Yeah, that's a big component of the show. Sure.
Mm-hmm. So either way, if he's dead still, that makes perfect sense with the story. And again, as I said, you wrapped him up really well. But if you bring him back, that just opens up even more possibilities.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. I'm just curious. I don't know either way, but. But anyway, I was just curious.
Yeah, no, again, and then you were talking about the Sean thing too. I haven't watched version 3 in a while, but during like Sean's like major fight scene, I forget the character's name he fights, but the guy that keeps telling me that Joe is that
Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, that fight scene was like, I got really emotional during it for some reason. And I don't know if it was just really because like the way Sean portrayed Sean, or just how it was done. I don't know why, but that one really got me.
No kidding. That's funny. Well, that's great. That's great to hear. That's supposed to be his breakthrough. Yeah. These are all things that make sense to me, but I don't expect anyone else to give a shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that means a lot to me. But I'm glad that you dug that, because that's what I was hoping for. Is that's a breakthrough moment, and I wanted it to kind of be like, you really feel for him in that moment. And I tried to cull something together from every big moment in Sean's life. When he's running and it's just going brrr, like flashing through stuff. Mm-hmm. I tried to get something from every era of Sean like in our show, and I hope that people dug it.
I definitely did.
That's something that I do think even subconsciously makes you like whatever in that scene. I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really all the questions I have. Oh, actually, I have one more. Talking about game days and everything coming up like that, I wanted to know, since you have like a season.
By the way, everybody, yes. Sorry, not to cut you off. Spoiler talk is over.
Yeah.
Spoiler talk is officially over. We'll end it right there. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay, cool. Anyway, you were saying.
So since you guys go to you and the pimps go to Disney land a lot, I want to know, for any of the rides, is there any sort of like ritual you guys usually have for the rides? Mainly because you guys have gone these rides 1,000 times. You pretty much know the ins and outs. Is there anything you guys do that to make your own fun of these rides at this point?
There is something that I discovered a while ago. You can pretty much, if you sit in the back seat of Pirates of the Caribbean, you can kind of turn completely around. Mm-hmm. Go through the ride that way. Now, That doesn't work that great on a busy day. Sometimes boats are right up against you. You don't want to be facing some idiot right behind you.
Right.
But if it's a dead day and there's no one behind you, ride that shit backwards. When you go down the waterfalls and stuff, that's a little bit scary. But you look around, you're looking at stuff, you see it from a different side that you haven't seen before. So that, and also when you ride Star Tours, you gotta go Papa Chatfield style. That's what we call, Sean's dad came up with a technique where you ride it arms up, legs off the ground.
Okay.
Changes everything.
Well, they'll have to try that.
Hell yeah.
That's all I got for me.
All right, well, thank you for your call.
Hey, thanks for taking it.
Take care, man.
All right.
Tight.